Hey y'all, it's Nathan here with the Garrett Racing Team. You may be wondering, why am I wearing this helmet inside of my home? Well, it kind of plays into the series that we're working on right now with my radio system for the race car. So this will be part 2 of a 3-part video series. The first video that we did was from last week that I did a custom-made earbud review for this radio system. So I had some custom-made earbuds that I used to hear for my communication between me and my spotter. And basically they help cancel out the sound coming in from the other cars, but it gives me a good clear radio signal in so I can at least hear what's going on just in case there's cautions and that type of thing. This week we're actually going to do one with my helmet. So I've got my helmet and I've got to actually wire it up so I can have the piece to plug into for the rest of my harness that goes into the car so that we can actually transmit the signal from my radio up to my helmet. And I've also got a mic that's going to be inside here that I can actually communicate from here back to the spotter. What we're going to be working with tonight, I've got a bunch of parts here. So I've got my drill. Going to have to do some drilling on my helmet to mount some P-clips for the brand new wiring harness that needs to be put in. I've got my rivets that goes with those P-clips to mount that on there. Basically, the main reason we're having to do this is, if you look, I have another harness here that I used to use, and it worked really well for a while, but I didn't have it properly mounted in my helmet. So to do this right, instead of letting the wires hang free from the helmet, you really need to hard mount it to the side of the helmet and only allow this part that uses this spring type coil cord, I guess you would call it, that's supposed to be stretched and pulled on. So since I didn't have this hard mounted and I kept pulling on it and stretching it, I actually ended up breaking this to where the cord and the ends that it was attached to more or less come disconnected and frayed. And I don't want to have that happen again. This piece is probably about 80 bucks for this one deal here, and I had to rebuy it and redo this whole deal over just because I basically made a shortcut and didn't do what I needed to do on mounting this thing. So it's something that we need to do and do right this time so we don't have to go back, and it'll allow us for good communication. So guys, I appreciate you coming along with us today. If you're new to the channel, great. This is a good place you're going to find stuff for short track racing, NASCAR, iRacing, any type of high performance automotive stuff. This is where you're going to find it at. And if you're coming back, again, thank y'all. I really do appreciate it. Hit that like button, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And if you can, hit that bell notification button, and it'll notify you anytime we have new videos. We also have a Facebook page, Garrett Racing Team. All right, y'all. That'll more or less do it for the intro. Let's get in here and get some work done, and we can get this helmet wired up, and then we'll lead into our 3rd video from next week. Thank y'all. All right, y'all. Let's get this thing took off so we can actually get to work. So basically, I've got to hard mount these wiring harness to my helmet to make sure that, like I said, everything's strain relieved and everything's going to work good. And if I do any pulling and tugging, it's not actually going to mess with the, the actual wires in the harness. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to take my new harness that I have here with my mic, so you'll be able to actually, you can kind of see the curvature and how it works now. We're more or less got to use some P-clips that I bought. I've already kind of got them picked out here, but basically P-clips that rivets can hold on, and the harness can go through the large area and keep it clamped. But what I got to do is I actually got to take my helmet, and on the inside I'm going to take this knife here, and basically if you can see where this stitching is, where it goes together, I want the mic to come out and turn to where it's right in front of my mouth, so that when I speak, it'll be good and clear and in the same, more or less, direction that I'm speaking. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my knife now, split, open a little section. I think we got it here. Yep. So I can feel basically the inside shell of my helmet now. And then on this back side where I've already got a little crease, that's where it's going to be fed into. So I'm going to pull that out just a little bit to get my finger in there. And now I should be able to feed this harness inside of my helmet. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to run it in there, and that'll give me a good gauge of where I need to actually put these P-clips. So let me run this inside. All right, y'all. I got it more or less wormed through here. And it should be right here at where I want it. Let's see if I can show y'all. So if you look here now, basically the mic is right here where my mouth would basically be to speak into it. The wires are ran through the inside and are going to come out about right here. So what I need to do now is actually hard mount this to the side of the helmet with these P-clips. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to get my P-clips together and ready, and basically we're going to put some masking tape or painter's tape on the helmet, and when I do the drilling, it will help keep it from scratching the paint on the helmet. It only go through where I want it. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, y'all. I've got my tape on my helmet. I've got my P-clips on my harness. So I'm going to get ready and drill this helmet and get these things ready to put on there. So I'm going to go ahead and drill it, and once I'm done, I'll show you what the holes look like, and we'll get ready to rivet this thing on here. All right, y'all. More or less got these holes drilled. See on the side there? 2 of them. And I'm going to try to show you what a mock-up is going to look like once I get these in here. Just to kind of give you an idea of where I'm going, what I'm looking to do before we get to it. So it's going to require 2 of these pop rivets. 1 for each P-clip. And as you can see, that's more or less going to hold it in place. And I'm probably going to take my jack, my input jack for my headset, probably loop it around and tie strap it like that, so that it'll be kind of out of the way, and I can just put my earbuds right in there and go right into my ears. So it's more or less how it's going to go. I guess what we can do now that I've got it in there, I'm just going to kind of give it a good once over, make sure everything looks good and not tight, like more or less not bunched up or any of that stuff. And we can go ahead and use our pop rivet gun and start pop riveting these rivets in here. So let's see what we can do with this. All right. All right. Well, guys, I got it in here. Also, when you get done with the rivet gun, basically you start with a long rivet like this, and the top nail, I guess you'd call it, the sharp point, it actually breaks off. This end kind of swells, and what you're left with, if you look here, is actually just the silver caps on either side. So 1 here and 1 right here. So now that we got that, I got some zip ties. I'm gonna try to pick not a too awful large one, probably black if I can find it to match the helmet color. And guys, this is actually looking really nice. So I'm gonna take a small zip tie. I'm gonna take this more or less for my headphones or my custom earbuds. They'll actually plug in here. So I'm gonna loop it like this and zip tie it so that I'll have a good point to where I won't pull on it. So kind of doing some extra work here with the strain relieving, but I've learned my lesson from basically my first go around, so I don't want to make that mistake again. All right, y'all, I think we got it. Zip tied this piece on here. Gonna cut the end off. So now everything is hardwired, and I can take my headset, plug it in, more or less my earbuds, plug it in here that I showed you last week, run them in my ears, and we're good to go, y'all. And then, like I said, this piece with the coil, it's meant to pull, so it's not going to tear up if I use it to plug into the rest of my harness. And that's more or less it. So I'm going to grab my earbuds and show you how all that works, and I'm going to clean this up real quick, get it out of the way, and we'll wrap this video up. All right. So now that I got all this finished up, let's show you how all the more or less whole package goes together. So here are my custom-made earbuds that I showed you from last week. I'm going to have a link in this video to that to show you how they fit, and how they were created. So I put them in my ears. As you can see, more or less perfect just to my ears and my ears alone. Stick my helmet on. So now that I've got this hardwired harness when I'm in the car, I can plug this into the rest of my wiring harness that goes to my radio. Then I can take my earbuds, find my earbud jack. It more or less fits perfect right there. So I've got that more or less all done, ready to go. So now the last thing to do is actually taking the harness that this plugs into and run it in the car, and more or less take the push button that I have to speak to the spotter. So when I'm racing, I can push a button on my steering wheel and speak to my spotter and say, hey, the car is too tight or too loose, or what's the guy doing in front of me if I need to catch him, or what's going on behind me? Am I doing, maintaining enough lead on the guy, behind me, and that type of thing. So that'll be the next video of this 3-part series showing actually how it goes in the car, and once we're in the car, how all this more or less works into one finished product. So that's going to do it for tonight's video, guys. I hope you really appreciate it. I hope it was very informative to you. If you have any questions on this stuff, how I did any of this is more or less a do-it-yourself thing. I found some stuff online that some guys had already did. They gave me some good pointers on how I needed to attack this, and turned out really nice. I'm real happy how it worked. Didn't do any damage to my helmet, and this should be good to go for as long as I want to run it. So guys, that's going to do it, y'all. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for coming back. Join us for next week. And until next time, stay safe, be good, and join us on this ride as we continue this journey with this modified and all types of racing and any automotive projects that we're working on. Thank y'all.